students.
Wow, Uttamji, if I can come to you. When we look at the story of humankind, we realize that it's quite one thing to see the plight of underprivileged children, try and help them, and quite another thing to build a sustainable institution, something that you've been able to do. Tell us about that. Tell us about your team, which is quite exceptional. You've built an ecosystem of learners, people who learn, go out, and come back to teach. Tell us about this institution that you've built.
Okay. See, there is a beautiful story. As I said, we face challenges of volunteers. We are not getting volunteers.
Yes.
We told our students that okay, we'll be supporting you financially to complete your education, but in turn, you'll have to devote your time. So they started devoting. But seeing them today, the ninth grade students have started volunteering at Humankind. But we face a lot of challenges while creating these volunteers also. Because every now and then, every few days, we'll see the student going out of our hands. मतलब वो जो पुरानी उनकी बुरी आदतें थी उनमें वापस वो जा रहा है लेकिन हमने वो कंटिन्यूस एफर्ट्स रखे कंटिन्यूस परसुएड इन बच्चों को करते गए तो आज ये करीबन 15 बच्चे ऐसे खड़े हुए हैं जो वॉलंटियर कर रहे हैं लेकिन सबसे ब्यूटीफुल चीज़ ये है कि इन 15 में से engineers are 10, they are BE, automobile engineer, BE, computer engineering, they are BE, electrical engineering, and they are now teaching the other kids. तो इससे और बहुत अच्छे इनके रिजल्ट्स बहुत अच्छे आने लगे हैं बाकी बच्चों के तो आज हमें हम बाहर से इंटर्नशिप के लिए बहुत सारे लोग आते हैं लेकिन हम उन पर डिपेंडेंट नहीं आज हमारे बच्चे खुद पढ़ के और दूसरे बच्चों को पढ़ा रहे तो एक चेन है हम चाहते थे कि आज जिस स्लम में हम काम कर रहे हैं वी फोकस ओनली ऑन दैट स्लम फॉर 14 इयर्स और हम यही चाह रहे थे कि इस स्लम के बच्चे एक अच्छी वैल्यूज लेके निकले और वो आज हो रहा है एक छोटा सा एग्जांपल आपसे शेयर करना चाहूँगा कि एजुकेशन मैंने जैसे कहा कि एजुकेशन इज नॉट ओनली इम्पोर्टेंट द वैल्यूज आर वेरी इम्पोर्टेंट पुलवामा जब हुआ था उस टाइम पे माय किड्स दे वर सिटिंग विद मी एंड वी आर डिस्कसिंग अबाउट दैट इंसिडेंट and one of the kids said, sir, why only others can support? We see a lot of people supporting the CRPF people. Why can't we do it? I said, what? What do you want to do? He said, I can also donate 1 rupee. So, can you send this 1 rupee to the CRPF? Oh, I said, this is good idea. I asked them कि ठीक है आप 15 दिन लीजिए आप 1 रुपये इकट्ठा कीजिए और हम जाएंगे और देके आएंगे You won't believe. They collected 11,000 rupees. तो ये जो एजुकेशन के अलावा जो वैल्यूज इन बच्चों में आज आ गई हैं रोज आर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट एक बहुत अच्छा सिटीजन हमारे देश के लिए आगे जाके बन रहा है
Right. On that note, Harshvardhan, Uttam, Veena ma'am, thank you very much for joining us in Changemakers and sharing your inspiring stories and best wishes to the work that you're doing to your respective teams. Thank you.
Very much. Thank you very much.
And with that, we conclude this edition of Changemakers. We hope these stories inspire you to become agents of change wherever you are. Till we meet again. Namaskar.
We are becoming like a Brahma, right? We are creating a new form of consciousness which can actually extend beyond our current presence. So you can think of it as the earliest days people used to store knowledge in books. I mean, even before that it was verbally stored. Now the idea is, especially if they have an embodied AI, like a robot, kids naturally get attracted to it. And there is no special learning which needs to happen, right? Robot can act just like a real teacher, it can move around, it can look. In fact, now we have built India's tallest humanoid robot, which is 7.7 feet. We just got installed in one of the universities here. It's being used to inspire students. See, the most important thing is actually we don't need to teach at all. My philosophy is that teachers, all they need to do is we need to inspire the students. And once the students get inspired, they will learn anything they want.
And I'm talking about access. I mean, a particular good teacher of a particular subject cannot be at all places at the same time, whereas robots who are informed and ready to teach can go anywhere, across the country, across the world.
That is, they can also be teaching the teachers, right? By teaching the robots. Forget the students.
Right.
The teachers are themselves excited, obviously the students will be excited. So that is the idea. Then use the robot almost as a teaching assistant, right?
Harsh, we're talking about cutting edge technology, but in this platform we're also talking society. A very interesting point that you mentioned earlier in the program about affordability. That this technology, as futuristic as it may sound, is still made affordable. They're not able virtually any number of times at their own space and pace using their mobile phones, computer, and follow-suit interfaces, either separately or together, based on the kind of learning experience the user wants to experience. Once developed in 3D, these learning modules become a great asset which can be used by millions remotely. Those were some truly amazing inventions and initiatives. Let's now meet our change makers and learn more about their work and vision. Let me welcome Harshvardhan Kikari, founder, Robot Guru, Veena Lashkari, founder, Blue Step School, and Uttam Sharma, founder, Humankind. A warm welcome to you. We saw your inspiring stories. Thank you very much for joining us in Change Makers. Looking at your stories, all three of you have shown unique commitment towards the cause of education in your respective work. First, we'd like to learn from you what drives you. How do you see education as a tool for change, tool for empowerment for youngsters? Veena ma'am, if I can start with you.
Yeah, I think so. Being 30 years into this field of education, I have myself seen the 3 decades, a 3-generation change in the education. Let me give you one example. Baba Saheb Ambedkar Nagar Incorporate, where we have started the program, there was a children, most of the children from Banjara community, who were the first generation learners, and they were working at the fishing industry. And when I started teaching them, I could see their children. Now, the children whom I was teaching, their children are working in the bank, they are chartered accountants, they are a doctor. So I can tell you the education, what the education brings out the change, that is the only answer to all our social problems. It may be a child labor, it may be a child marriage, you name it, the education can bring out the change. And I myself have experienced and I have been put forward to you. So you can just say that it is something which is unbelievable that education can do.
Right. Uttamji, what would you say your driving force, the commitment towards education, educating youngsters, young children that you've shown, what is your driving force?
Well, I feel that education imparts skills and knowledge to people, and it positively impacts to alleviate poverty. Just say the major problem is of poverty is because of lack of education. And other education, I speak in both the languages. एजुकेशन अगर बच्चों को मिलता है तो उनको एक अपना वजूद अलग से मिलता है. अदरवाइज उनको रिलेट किया जाता था कि ये गरीब बच्चा है, लेकिन इट इज एजुकेटेड, इट्स गेटिंग एजुकेशन, देन उसको एक नया लुक अपना मिलता है, समाज के अंदर भी उसको वो इम्पोर्टेंस मिलती है, कॉन्फिडेंस बढ़ता है. इसलिए एजुकेशन बहुत जरूरी है. और हमने देखा कि अगर एक बच्चा, वन चाइल्ड स्टार्ट लर्निंग, तो उसके पीछे पीछे पूरी लाइन लगती है. जस्ट शेयर वन एग्जांपल विद यू. वी हैड ए गर्ल इन 8th grade जो पढ़ रही थी और बहुत अच्छा पढ़ रही थी. वी वांटेड हर टू जॉइन ए गुड स्कूल, पर उसके पेरेंट्स एग्री नहीं हो रहे. दे सेड कि नहीं, ये लड़की शादी करके चली जाएगी, मेरे 3 लड़कों को पढ़ा. दैट वाज द इशू. लेकिन हमने उन्हें बहुत कन्विंस किया है, इस लड़की को पढ़ाया. आज ये पोजीशन है कि दैट गर्ल इज 4th year ऑफ बीई कंप्यूटर इंजीनियरिंग में स्लम. लेकिन उसको देख के उसके तीनों भाई इंस्पायर हुए. वो 12th में था, एक बड़ा उसके बाद वाला स्कोर 85%. उसके बाद के 2 बच्चे 10th में थे, दे स्कोर 89 and 90%. जो जो जला के चलो वो यहाँ सक्सेस होता है. कि अगर आप एक बच्चे को भी इंस्पायर कर पाते हैं तो फिर पीछे पीछे फॉलो करने के लिए बहुत सारे बच्चे. सो एजुकेशन इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. और इसके साथ में वैल्यूज बच्चों में एजुकेशन, दैट्स व्हाई हर बच्चे को मिलना चाहिए.
Right. Harshvardhan, your startup has introduced transformative technologies in the field of education. The technology aside, your vision, your commitment to the field of education is inspiring. What made you focus your energies, your career in this field?
So it's actually very interesting. So I actually took a very logical approach at this stage in terms of what is the biggest transformation which can happen. So this happened when I actually won one of the awards with the Sustainable Development Efforts for connecting people. So I always believe that technology should actually help the people connect with each other. And looking at the Sustainable Development Goals, I realized that the 4th goal, which is education, is one all the other 17 goals. So I said, if you just focus on this one goal and make sure that every kid gets educated, then the amount of change that can happen in the income level, in the quality of life, in their ability to enjoy and give to others is going to exponentially increase. And one of the biggest things that I saw was in developed countries, there is a lot of existing resources which were available and a lot of really good teachers who are available. So I call it like the Xerox copy mode. Right? Currently, the way education was happening was maybe somebody from MIT like is creating some framework, somebody from maybe IIT go there, get some of this information, and then that gets passed to second tier, third tier. But that model is like Xerox copy. So ultimately, by the time the teachers and the student in tier 3 was getting this education, it's very difficult for them to get the best quality education. Second problem was that they didn't have the infrastructure. And as a company of as a country with a billion people, we could not afford to have all these expensive things. Right? That's when I thought, why not we use technology to solve both of these problems while we maintain the human connection? That was the inspiration. That using human intelligence, combining with the artificial intelligence and technologies like augmented reality and virtual reality, we make it much easier for first of all teachers to develop, and then those teachers can now teach that almost this is a USB digital copy mode, like instead of Xerox copy. Now whatever is there in the best of the universities, whether it's IIT, MIT, wherever, Stanford, the best of the education and the best of the educators themselves. That's why we call it robot guru, right? There is a guru and there is a robot, and we can kind of, in fact, I was teaching robots a lot using humans. Then I thought if I can teach humans, why not teach humans using robots? So that's where all these ideas came, and like it fused together, and we were able to create something which is able to do something which was not possible before. Right? See, always disruptive things happen when you are able to do something. For example, our vision is in the next 10 years, any person anywhere on earth should be able to learn any skill they want for less than 100 rupees per month.
I want to get now into the specifics of the work that you do about your institution, about your inventions. Beena ma'am, I'll come to you. When we talk about children from weaker sections, something that often comes up is that the schools are at a greater distance, so it's difficult for students to go to school. Now, you bring in an ingenious solution. You bring the schools to the doorstep of where children are. How did you come about this? And what were your observations in those initial days of your institution that made you create, for example, the fascinating learning bus that you have, where you take the students in the bus and they study it like a classroom?
Still speaking, the entire concept of doorstep students started from the big challenge that children were not able to come to the school because timings were not suitable, they were working, the school was very far, and in a city like Bombay and major city of India, there are a lot of crossing in that traffic. So 5-year-old child are not able to go by his own, 5 to 6-year-old child, because the parents are at workplace and they cannot afford to keep the work out because they are daily wages. So this was a big issue which we had found that most of the children could not go to the school because there was no one there to drop them. How the children will go to the school. So this is the thing what we have thought, and we in Bombay we didn't have a much pre-primary program with strong program. There was an Anganwadi and all these things, but that was not running very well in the city area. So this was a really big issue. There was a big gap. Child, we have to wait till the child becomes 8 and 9 and then he can go to the school by his own or with his siblings. So that was the thing which we thought that if children cannot go to the school, let's bring the school to the children. So that was the first answer to challenge which we have been come across. The second challenge that we had faced about the parents' resistance. Parents were not ready because they said, if at all my child will become a literate, then he will not be helping me to earn and he might not do the continue his work. So that was another challenge that we have to be made aware that how the education can bring out the change in your life and your children's life.
Right. So do you then act as a bridge man between, if I may use the word formal education and no access to education? So you're forming a bridge where you're helping such students avoid dropout like that?
Yes, yes. So what we are actually doing is ensuring the very first step was ensuring the children to go to the school at the right time, right age. So we help the parents to put the children into formal school. After that, we support them after and before school because see, finally we don't want to create a pyramid system. We want to strengthen the education system itself. So then we support them after and before school with kids through study class. But besides that, a very big step which we have taken up, working with the government school. So we go and work with the government school where we help them, the children who are slow in learning, and we run the big reading program. What we have come across that once child has been learned, then he needs to have a practice. And that is possible only through the reading. So we take up on a large reading program, and that has really helped a lot of children to improve their language and vocabulary.
Right, ma'am, and each of us would have our memories of our classrooms that would be special space for us. You converted buses into classrooms. What does it mean for the students whose doorsteps you go to, and how do they react? What is the relationship with this bus in the classroom?
School on Wheels, that was School on Wheels. That was the concept was in mind in 1991, but when we were working with the children on a street children and station children, there was a lot of children on a street which we are saying the signal children and children on a station. This is the story of 1990 when I was actually conducting classes, and that time I understood that children were not able to focus and they were not able to learn because there was a lot of disturbance on a street. And anytime the parents called, then child used to run away. Anything happens on a street, he's been disturbed and he gets distracted. So at that particular time, I thought that there are so many mobile concepts is there. Why not school? That was the very first thing which just come in my mind that if I have my own bus, which I can take up wherever I find the children and I can teach them. And it was very clear that we will not keep the children in a bus. We will go back. So actually, the bus is like going into different four locations. The station, the children come in a bus, we teach them, and they go back to the street. But this has really helped many more children because education was not very common amongst the street children, and this is really helping to them to go to the further studies. So, School on Wheel is actually become more like a emergency classroom, the classroom wherever we find the children are there, so we can start immediately.
Harshavardhan, if I can come to you, Robot Guru startup, when we look at the story, it tells us about robots who can learn as students, who can teach as gurus, and therefore the name Robot Guru. You left a very comfortable job in the US to come to India to revolutionize the manner in which learning takes place. From your motivation to the vision of how robots could be the agents of change, how did that happen?
So, robots, see, I was working for Bill Gates and we were experimenting actually building a robot for everything. And as these robots started learning, right, so I had a small kid who was just born, he was like 2 years. And what I noticed was, if I taught him something, for example, to cross, how to cross a particular barrier or anything, it was very similar to how I was actually teaching the robot. Right? So I started teaching the robot and I started teaching the kids. Then I started noticing that robots, once they learn, the advantage of robots is they can actually now share this knowledge across the board because they have something called the cloud, right? They have a cloud mind. For humans to actually kind of catch up, it is really difficult. So I said, why